So I bought this pair of New Balance Model 996s about 10 or so years ago, and they've been worn a lot, like a lot. Yet, I still wear these from time to time, though the occasions are more and more limited. And I've gotten so much satisfaction out of these over the years, well worth the $160 or $175 I paid for them. And I think I can honestly say I've enjoyed this shoe more than any other pair I've owned. I also bought this pair of New Balance 990 V4s about 4 years ago on eBay for I think about $75 or $80. And they too have been worn really hard. I took these things on like a 10-mile hike one day because it was all I had and they did the job just fine. And yet these things still look to be comfortably middle-aged. I also have this pair of New Balance CT300s that I bought off Poshmark a couple years ago for about $30. And I enjoy them a lot. Though they're not as comfortable as these two, I still like to have them in my rotation. And I finally bought a new pair of gray 996s, the exact same thing as these. And they're way too fresh and sterile to really feel anything towards, but I look forward to the break-in to wear-out journey, and I think I paid $185 for these. Now, what all these shoes I've shown you have in common is they're from New Balance's heritage line, and they can be easily identified by their manufacturing location, either the US or the UK. These shoes cost approximately 80 to 100% more than their regular line because they're better quality. And also, I assume because of the increased labor costs of producing in the US and UK. And you can see and feel the better quality. These shoes still look decent-ish and haven't lost all their structural integrity, even though they've had a near decade of hard use. I would venture to say a pair of $100 sneakers, all synthetic, would likely have disintegrated by now, if worn just as hard. And I felt and still feel a real sense of pride wearing these shoes. And I really started to feel that pride once they kind of got that broken, worn look and feel. Or I guess I could alternatively put it like this. I bought a relatively expensive consumable, made my money back by consistently enjoying it for 2 to 3 years. Now any use is straight profit, and they have this nice personalized patina. Now, if you're within any proximity to the sneakerhead streetwear world, or just happen to pay attention to what people are wearing, you will notice a lot of New Balances. And expensive $180, $200+ heritage New Balances, not just their more budget-friendly lines. They've experienced some serious growth over the past decade, due in part to younger generations' prioritization of comfort, also their embrace of ironic 90s dad normcore wear, and then further boosted when Balenciaga released these, subsequently elevating the bulky orthopedic to the upper echelons of cool. Now, I'm not here to proclaim how cool or stylish or what the future holds for this style of shoe, but I am here to express my enthusiasm for the embrace of higher quality sneakers. Sneakers built and designed to be worn for more than a season, possibly a decade. Even if the initial reason for embrace is superficial, hopefully it'll transform into an appreciation for their quality. Which leads me to my next question. Why is it that New Balance is the only sneaker company that I'm aware of with a heritage or distinctly higher quality line? Other footwear companies such as Wolverine and Red Wing have similar business models where they have more budget-friendly lines that presumably make up most of their business, and a heritage line costing roughly twice as much but having significantly higher quality. I personally find it reassuring purchasing from these businesses because there's a clear message from business to consumer that not all their products are created equal. Because if you cruise around Adidas or Nike's or Reebok's website, you'll find some expensive shoes, but there's nothing to indicate their better quality besides the price. Quick correction, this isn't entirely true. After some more detailed research, it seems Nike and Adidas does make an attempt with some of their sneakers, and Reebok doesn't have anything uber expensive. But still, it isn't always super clear and transparent just what you're actually paying more for. Like, why are these $210 and these originally $105? I dug around the description of both and it's not entirely clear. Maybe some quote-unquote new technology? That's why they're twice as much? So am I paying for hype or better quality materials and construction? I have no problem paying $200 for a pair of sneakers if there is a clear understanding my dollars are going to quality as opposed to limited quantity. And I think $200-ish is a fair price point. Check out this list from Esquire of 28 luxury sneakers that are worth the money. Sure, I imagine these shoes are really well made, but their price point just isn't reasonable for most. Now at this point, I imagine many will point me toward the generic leather, often in white shoe. A shoe more ubiquitous around metro areas than Starbucks cups, and rightly so. They're classic and timeless and dynamic, and you can find pairs for $80 to $200 to $400 and beyond, presumably getting higher quality and greater longevity the more you pay. But not everyone loves this design, and not just aesthetically, but functionally as well, and I'm one of them. I like shoes built for comfort. Shoes designed to be worn while moving and shaking and carrying things. Shoes that make a day of walking 8 miles around a new city carrying a 10-pound tote bag the most enjoyable it can be, while still being acceptable at the nicer restaurant you're planning to check out in the evening. I also like what a solid heel and arch does for my already struggling posture and collapsed arches. There's a reason New Balance has been the king of orthopedics long before hip urbanites decided they were cool. Though I appreciate the quality of these, after walking around in them for a couple hours, my feet start to fatigue. So, I wrap up this long diatribe with a message for New Balance. Thanks for making a distinctly higher quality shoe that just happens to be made in the US, at least some of them. And a message for other shoe companies. Shoe companies with designs and themes we all know and love. Have you thought about doing the same?